All right, welcome to Creator Hardware, and today we are reviewing a RackChoice 1U server case. Now, normally when I do a server case review, I build in the case and I kind of show you and talk about the issues and the good stuff and all that kind of stuff. Spoiler alert, before you click away, I'm not doing a build in this simply because I don't recommend you buy this case unless you have very specific needs, because there's a lot of little issues that are not good for this case and its use. So let's talk about that. Now, the case will fit a full-size standard ATX form factor. It will also fit mini and micro. And that's good. That's a good feature of it. You can put any motherboard you want in it. Obviously, it's a 1U, so you gotta have a low profile cooler. Now you have one PCI port to use, meaning nothing but 1U. So you can't get a different riser. Now, it does not come with this riser. This is my riser, but you can't, it literally only has one PCI slot bracket, so you can't do anything but a single slot card in it, which obviously is going to cover up other PCI slots in the process, but that's kind of, you expect that with a 1U. My issue with it is the single slot part. You can't do anything other than a full-size single slot card. Nothing. So it kind of limits you on this case. Again, expected a 1U. For Molex fans that are with grills, they're loud. Not a deal killer for me for a case. They're a nice add-on if you're putting it into your garage or your basement and you don't care about noise. They're fine. If you're, putting it in your office like I would, swap it out for Be Quiets or Noctua. It's not a big deal. Now, I will have an affiliate link if you decide you want something like this case. Now let's talk some of the bigger issues. One of the biggest ones is power supplies. It does not use a flex power supply. It uses an actual server PSU. I've only found 2 companies that make that form factor, and they are all 2 weeks out. Now you can fit a flex power supply in the hole, double-sided tape, or do a 3D printed bracket or something like that. So if you have access to a 3D printer, you could use a flex power supply. I don't, so I can't. And 2 weeks out, and I have to use a proprietary power supply that can't easily be replaced if it dies, because it only has 2 mounting holes. That's it. There's no brackets that come with it, nothing. Now, one of the reasons why I was looking at this case specifically was because of this. And the pictures on Amazon don't do it justice because it's confusing. So it's got a locking cover. It does have one full 5¼ inch bay that you could swap in like an icy dock or something like that. One of the reasons why I was interested in this case, maybe swap my TrueNAS scale install into this, because all it does is store videos on it, and if that dock would fit there, it'd be a good option. The problem comes with if you're using it for storage. If you're using this for a NAS, there's some kind of issues. One, in storage, it has these 2 bays that are easily removable. They hold 4 hard disk drives or 2 SSDs and 2 hard drives. The hard drives mount fine. They're 100% usable. You can get to the connectors, not a big deal. Now, SSDs, on the other hand, mount pretty far in, so your connectors are going to be pretty tight getting them connected. And so I really wouldn't recommend trying to put SSDs in here. But if you're doing a 4-disk NAS, it'll work fine because they mount in there fine. There's just, you unscrew them, you pull them out, you mount the discs, and you put them back in. You've got good access to the front of the drives. They're not real super tight against the floor, etc. Now, one huge issue that may or may not affect you simply because of what kind of board you use, but the USB 3.0 connector is dead against the back of this hard drive. When you get it, it's run out through under this box. It will not fit under there and this box with a drive in it. So you're going to have to reroute it around here, and it puts a pretty hard bend on that connector. It's might break. Honestly, huge issue if you want to use this connector. Now, in my case, it will route fine around here and cook into the correct port on the board down here. Now, the biggest issue is how much stress is putting on the front circuit board for the 2 front ports. A lot, and kind of an issue. Now, one weird thing about this case as well is it has 2 sets of reset and power switches. For some reason, it's got 4 of them. Power LED, you don't have one is not labeled. And so this is kind of a miss on RackChoice's part for just some of this kind of stuff. The issues besides the power supply is annoying. You know, it's just got a lot of little things that I don't like about it. You know, putting a lot of stress on a circuit board you're probably not going to be able to find to replace, because, you know, just in the build and that kind of stuff, it could get stressed, break it, and then all of a sudden you don't have a power switch because it's all part of the same board. But that's one of my biggest issues with this, is it puts a lot of stress on that circuit board that controls the front I/O. So during the build process, you may break it and no longer have front I/O or even a power switch. I really wanted to like this case simply because the ability to mount my IC dock and conserve some space in the rack. So conclusions of this video are: power supply that's hard to come by. So if it fails, it's going to be hard to come by. Your server is going to be down for a couple weeks. Poor mounting for SSDs and some poor design choices. I'd recommend you pass on this case. It just has too many little issues that I don't think work. So hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching. This is Creator Hardware.